There's something extremely satisfying about building an off-grid homestead. But you gotta plan so that you don't make any mistakes. And probably the first thing you should do is actually get you a tool shed or a place to work out of. And that's what Rebecca and I have done. So the first thing we did was to actually build this bodega, as they call it in Costa Rica, a place to house all of my tools. Because when you're going out to the work site, you don't want to have to work out of your vehicle. Now, if you got a trailer, great, but in Costa Rica, you don't often see that. But what you do see is almost everywhere where they're building, they'll throw up a temporary shed, and that's where they'll put all of their tools and everything, and that's where they work out of. Well, by building a tool shed, we got a place where we can kind of begin doing things. And so today, we're going to take you back in time and show you exactly what we did to get the Off-Grid Homestead started. It's a forest, but we've started cleaning today, as you can see. And somewhere in there, we're going to build a tiny house. The view from the tiny house is going to be phenomenal once we get things cleaned up. The question is, where in all of that jungle do we build? And we've spent the day doing a lot of cleaning and clearing, so the area looks a whole lot better. While clearing out a spot in the jungle, we found this strange object. The jungle had taken over whatever this was, and I'm curious, what is hidden underneath? Who knows what I might find? And that's going to be the build site right there. So let's see what I found. A rock. But this rock might be an interesting piece for this homestead, since it looks like it will be right next to where we're going to be building the tiny house. So I strung up an area to get an idea where the tiny house would be and what it might look like. I started playing around with some of the figures and started at 8 foot, but decided that, I think 10 foot wide would be much better. And since you don't get to see Cootie that much, well, that's our cat, and when she does come around, it looks like she loves to hang out in the car. All right, welcome to the Off-Grid Homestead. So, as you know, we've been looking for a perfect piece of paradise, our slice of paradise. And, well, we have found one. I'll give you a little bit more detail about that later. But, before we can actually get here, we have to have internet. I have to work, and there's no internet, there's no electricity, there's no cell phone signal. We are very, very remote. And the bad thing about doing anything out here, it's so far remote that, if I forget any of my materials, well, town is like an hour and a half, 2 hours away to buy anything. Today's project is that we're going to be trying to install or build a 6x6 shed, or bodega as they call it in Costa Rica. Now the purpose is that I've got a guy coming out here in a few days. He's going to be putting up a solar unit, okay, just a small solar system. However, there's no walls. There's nothing out here, as you can see, but trees and weeds, okay? So I've got to clear out an area, and I'm going to build just a small 6x6 shed. Today, I'm going to lay the slab. So I think this is where I want to do it, but I got a mulberry tree right here that I planted some months ago to attract birds. We love nature. But I'm going to have to move that mulberry tree, but I'm kind of glad that I do, because the house is going to be this way, 10 foot by about 24 foot, and there's going to be a porch. our main view is not only the front, but out here. And I figure if I plant this mulberry tree here, because I've got a mulberry tree there, and then if I plant that mulberry tree right over there, well then as it gets bigger, I'll be able to see the birds and possibly the monkeys as they come by to eat some of the fruit, okay? So I'm gonna have to move that. Well, I just need to clear out this little area right here, and I need to get after it. So let's get started. All right, I've got it all cleaned out. And so now I just need to stake it, get it level, and get it square. And that way I can get ready to pour some cement. So we're getting closer. All right. I thought I was getting close. And then I ran into a problem. However, you know, it all depends on how you look at it. It could be a problem. Problems just seem to be negative. Or it could be a challenge. And being here since November 2013, I've come to realize that there's a lot of challenges in coming to Costa Rica. But they're not all bad. Some challenges will make you stronger. Other challenges, you know, if there's a challenge, there's a resolution. There's a solution to something. But your solution might be a quick fix, and your solution might lead to something that's going to make you a lot of money while you're in Costa Rica. Obstacle that I've run into, the challenge is there's a rock. And I found a rock, and you know, rocks are kind of like icebergs. You only can see the tip of it, and then it's no telling how big it is. And well, same situation here. Let's take a closer look. All right, so the tip of my iceberg is right here. And I thought it was going to be maybe a small rock. You never know. But it turns out that as I dug, it looks like my rock, it goes at least, well, it looks like it's at least four foot long. And it's no telling how big this is. So the challenge here is try to dig that whole thing up. Or, you know, this rock's probably not that strong. I could probably take a good hammer and break this. And, because it only needs to come down a little bit for my form. So, if we take a look here, yeah. Some of that could be part of my foundation. Yeehaw! That's looking at the positive. Now, we got to figure out what to do here. So, I'm going to test it. And I really should have some safety glasses, but I just want to test to see how tough it's going to be. So don't hate on me here, okay? I don't think it's going to be tough. I'm going to go get my safety glasses. I'm going to get my chisel, and I'm going to try to work on this a little bit. Yeah. Here's my girl. Yeah. There's my Nikki, huh? Yeah, come see. Oh, you're such a good girl, huh? Yeah, you're such a good girl. All right, we got to get this rock. You ready? You ready to get this rock? Huh? Okay, you come over here. All right, let's see how strong this rock is. Yeah, I think this rock's gonna break off really easy. This is breaking off good. I don't have to go that far. To kind of give us an idea, I need to come down a little bit more here. Of course, a lot of that can be part of my slab. gotta just make sure that we're level. And it looks like, all right, looks like we're level on all sides. I do need to square it up though. So let's see what we have. We got 104 inches and a half. We should have the exact same thing on this side. All right, we're exactly 104 inches and a half. So that means we're square. So I need to put in my stakes, and if I put in my stakes, it'll stay in place, we hope. And here's where the rock's at. So we take a look. We got at least a couple of inches here above the rock. So we're good, and that rock will just become a part of our foundation. How awesome is that? We solved, not a problem, we fixed that challenge. There's a solution to every challenge. And in Costa Rica, you'll meet a bunch, but perseverance pays off. And it was between that rock or this rock, and this rock won. And level. There's our rock. So our rock is right here. So we can't get any more square and any more level than that. But I'm not done yet, because Rebecca wants a little temporary shower in here so that, you know, whenever we're working out here, until we actually get a shower, we can have an outdoor shower right here. So now I got to form it up right here so that our shower will be, this part will be a little bit lower than the rest of it, so that that water doesn't go all over the building. It'll go out, okay? And I'll have to dig a drain at some point. All right, so we're getting close, but it's starting to rain a little bit. But what's even more exciting is the monkeys are coming around. I'm gonna try to see if I can catch them on camera. The monkeys are all around me, and they seem to be okay with me so far. So this is really neat. I'm kind of starting to feel like Tarzan. All right, so far we're looking pretty good. We got a little area right here for our shower, and it's just going to be a small shower, but it's just a temporary shower, so we have a place to get cleaned up while we're working. So it's just a little bitty 6x6. It's almost ready to start pouring cement. So, but I'm debating whether this rain is gonna kick in or not. And right now the monkeys are passing in the trees right here, which is really neat, and the biggest reason why we want to live way out here where it's remote. And Nikki has been such a good girl. She didn't try to chase them. Huh? Yes, you was so good, huh? Yes, you was so good. So we're getting close to getting ready to pour some cement. I got to put some concrete wire down here, and I got to do a little work here for my shower area, but it's looking fabulous. Yesterday the weather wasn't so nice, and so it rained yesterday evening. Not a bad thing, just means I couldn't finish my project. So today we're going to try to finish it all up. It's an absolutely gorgeous day. It's bright and early. The sun's getting ready to come over the top of the mountains in a little while. It's going to dry things up nicely. But let's take a look at what we've got to do today. I've got almost everything ready, and really all I need to do is haul a bunch of cement over next to my working site here, and then get ready to start mixing cement. So let's take a look at our site. All right, so this is a close-up shot. As you can see, I've got my little area here. It's only 30 inches by 30 inches, so it's gonna be a good little temporary outdoor shower. Everything's all formed up. I have my concrete wire inside here. I've got everything leveled out, and it's about, between 3.5, 4 inches deep of concrete, which is gonna be plenty since there's never gonna be a lot of weight in there. As you can see, I ran my strings here, so everything is level. Everything looks real good. So I got to haul in my cement, and then after I haul in my cement, well, we're going to mix that cement, pour it all in here. And now my shower area, well, I'm going to do that on another day because I'm going to let that dry. This way I can pull this form out, and then I can pour my shower area, which is going to be, a few inches lower than the top. That way, when we're taking a shower, all of the water stays here and drains out. So it's time for us to get after it. Got my cement over here. And it looks like I got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18 bags of cement. Now, I'm a high-tech redneck, and so for all you contractors out there and cement mixers, hey, if you know the exact formula, well, then go ahead and tell me what the exact formula in the description below. I'm a high-tech redneck, so I just go to Google and I say, I'll put in, I got 6 feet by 6 feet, 3 inches thick, and it tells me how many sacks of concrete I need. However, it tells me I need this many 40-pound bags or this many 80-pound bags. And in Costa Rica, it's all on kilos, and so this is a 40-kilo bag, and I'm not quite sure because I don't have internet right now, but a 40-kilo bag I think is about 88 pounds. And which brings me to our next challenge, or our biggest challenge living in Costa Rica, is internet. And so pretty soon you'll be able to watch a video and you'll see what we're doing to overcome the challenge of getting internet here at the Off-Grid Homestead. It's a big challenge, but we're overcoming that challenge, and hopefully soon, within a day or two, I hope we'll have internet. All right, it's time to get after it. Now, I forget to mention that, I'm no pro at any of this stuff. So if you got any good comments or suggestions, don't hate on me. Hey, educate me and let me know. Put your comments in the description below and tell me what you would do differently or what would be a better way to do it. So I'm by myself, and it looks like I've got about 18 bags of cement to mix. I'm hoping it ain't going to take it all, but it probably will. But I'm going to have to mix it really wet because I need it to be wet so that whenever I level it and screed out my concrete, then it won't be dry since I'm working by myself. So I'm gonna have to work fast and work hard so I can get it done. All right, you know, it just came to mind that some of you are probably thinking, well, hey, Alan, why don't you just get some plain old regular cement, some sand and gravel, and kind of mix this stuff instead of using all this Sackcrete or this Quickcrete? Well, I could do that. However, you know, we're very, very remote. The closest hardware store where I could buy all of that would be a little more than 2 hours away. And so I don't know what they would charge me to bring it up here. And even if they did charge a lot, it'd still probably be worth it. However, the road is so narrow, so small, so difficult. You need a four-wheel drive to get here. And I don't think any of those trucks would even dare come this way. So I don't have any choice but to use cement mix. And I'm hoping that eventually maybe I can get me a concrete mixer so I won't have to do so much work. Because this is a lot of cement for a 6x6. When I get ready to do the tiny house, that's 10 by 24 or 30. That's a lot of cement. Y'all pray for a concrete mixer. Now here's an interesting cultural side note. I'll try to add these in as I'm working on the project. But in Costa Rica, you hardly ever, you almost will never see them mixing cement in a wheelbarrow, okay? They almost always will find them a spot on the ground, and they will mix that cement on the ground somewhere close to the job site, and then just shovel it in wherever it needs to go. So, of course, after the job is over, you got this big hole in the ground that's a mess from the job site, from the concrete. Of course, it's never cleaned up. That's your job once you get the house. And you almost never see a concrete mixer. Of course, depends on how you look at it. They got concrete mixers all over Costa Rica. It's called Tico labor. They get in there and they mix it themselves. Now, that's one of the things I really admire. And it was one of the first things that just impressed the heck out of me. Is I first came to Costa Rica and I saw they were starting on a new job site at house, and I saw these two Tico guys, and man, they was digging their butt off, and they was up to their chest, and they was digging a hole for the septic tank. Now the septic tanks here are not nearly as big as what you might have in the United States, and you know, and it might be about 6 foot around for a large septic tank. But you know, Ticos don't have this mentality. Where's the backhoe? Where's the concrete mixer? They just have this just do it mentality, and they get after it. So that's one of the interesting cultural side notes about Costa Rica. As you can see, my concrete is really wet, but concrete dries real fast, and I need it to be wet so that I can work it when I get done. So as you can see, we got a concrete poured. It looks pretty good. It's really, really wet. And the last step is I need to put some bolts in there. So I got these bolts, and so I'll stick that into the cement all the way up to the threads. Once that's in my cement, then after it's dry, then I could put that great big washer and on there and my nut so that I can fasten down my metal building. So anyway, we're coming along. I'm gonna have to let it dry a little bit, but I'll keep working it, but we're getting close. All right, that's looking pretty good. Now, as a cultural side note, you'll never see, or I haven't ever seen concrete this smooth in Costa Rica. I think it's probably a couple of things, you know, they just really don't care. And most importantly, almost all concrete's going to be covered with some tile anyway. So, to them, it's like, well, why worry about making it smooth or level if I'm just going to cover it up with tile? So anyway, just difference is all. And if we take a look, we've got 6 bags of concrete left out of 18. So it took us 12 bags of concrete. Keep in mind, these are 40-kilo bags, which is heavier than the heaviest bag of the United States, which is 80 pounds in the States, okay? I think this converts to 88 pounds. So now I've got concrete that I can kind of move back underneath a building or underneath tarp to keep it from getting wet. But anyway, it's looking good. It's now time to put those bolts in. So before the concrete gets too hard, I got to make some holes, put those bolts in there. Let's do it. My bolts are in. The cement is getting really dry, so it's still got a long ways to go before it's cured. And I'll be back here probably in a few days. When I come back, I'll dig out the shower area, pour some cement down in the bottom, and then we'll start putting up some walls. So, hey, if you like this project and you enjoyed this project, hey, give us a thumbs up, give us lots of likes, give us some comments. Hey, remember, if you see something that I could be doing better, hey, I'm eager to learn from those that know. So put your comments in the chat box. And look, we look forward to seeing you in the next video. So, hey, this is Off-Grid Homestead, where we are building a tiny house without electricity, without cell phone service, without internet. But we do have a lot of water. But we're working on getting some of those other things, and we'll find out more in the next Living in Costa Rica Off-Grid.